thank you all for attending this webinar and taking time on this Friday evening. So I'm Anurag from Sarveda team, and today we have with us Guru Pashupati ji, also known as Ashwin Mohan. Guru Pashupati ji is a direct student of the Immortal Yogi Guru Mahavatar Babaji. He and his small team have cured over 700 people of their incurable chronic illness in the past 4 years. And in this webinar, we will discuss about how yoga can help us manage our emotional imbalances. So, Guru Pashupati ji, we would like you to shed some light on this topic. And before we start, could you please let us know about your personal journey and how you got into yoga?
Yeah, sure. I mean, it's part of my presentation anyway. So thank you everyone for showing up here, and I hope you're going to get some value for showing up here. That's the main intention. Not really to tell you so much stuff about myself, but yes, I'll tell you what's necessary. All right. Okay. So I hope you can see my screen now. Just a few things about me. I'm the Parampara Adhikara of Trilok Aghora, which is a very secret akhada. There are 12 akhadas in India and only one akhada in Nepal, and it's in the mountains. Not many people know about it. That's Trilok Aghora. An akhada is a school of for warrior yogis, people who practice martial arts, learn how to fight wars if they have to, and also are yogis, which means they don't have a problem with the world. Okay, the definition of yogi is that they don't have a justice system of their own. If it's possible in the universe, then it's just. That's it. If you can accept that, you're a yogi. But that is what yoga is. And there are 6 immortal yogas, and these 6 immortal yogas I am authorized to teach now, and each of them is very special. There's Naga Yoga, Vajra Yoga, Aghora, Natha Yoga, Giri Yoga, and Siddha Yoga. You might have heard of these yogas separately. Naga Yoga is very, very secret. You'd have never heard about it. You won't know anything about it. Vajra Yoga, the Buddhists practice it, so you might have heard about it. Aghora became famous because of that one book called Aghora, written by a non-Aghori. And then there is Nath Yoga, where you see these guys during Kumbh Mela running around. You see Naga yogis also in Kumbh Mela, Naga sadhus. And then Giri yogis are also there. Siddha yogis are very rare, you don't find them. And Siddha Yoga is all about healing. So I'm going to give you some principles of which are valid in all these yogas. And they are Amrita Yoga Siddhanta, the principles of immortal yoga. Using this, you can heal yourself from any kind of emotional mess, and you can also heal yourself from any kind of physical illness, and you can also heal yourself from death itself. Okay, so these are like really cool stuff. Yeah, I want you to just understand this. If you understand this, you automatically have emotional wellness. You don't have to struggle about it, you know. So, but just so because Anurag asked, I'm going to tell you that I started learning yoga at the age of 9, and that was the mortal yoga, where you sit and stretch yourself, try to touch your nose to your toes and stuff like that. I could do it when I was. By the time I was 12, I could kiss the back of my knees. Okay, but that didn't help me in any way to be happy, and it didn't create any kind of power for me. People still used to ignore me, and people used to still abuse me in some ways. So I never really got anything out of it. There's no proper guidance, no proper definition of what the goal of yoga is supposed to be. And I continued with this, and by the time I was 18, I was completely frustrated with it. And at that time, I tried to kill myself by holding my breath. And on that day, my Guru Mahavatar Babaji came home, And then through his eyes, he communicated. He didn't open his mouth. He communicated that he'll come back for me. And that's all I wanted. I knew that there is magic in the universe, and there is mysticism in the universe. And that's all I wanted to know. I didn't want to know anything else. And so I spent the rest of my days waiting for him until the age of 32, where he actually came back. So that was a long wait. From the age of 18 to the age of 32, that's like 14 years. 14 years I had to wait, undergoing, doing things that I don't believe in, like learning how to earn a living, and being married, having a family, and all that kind of stuff. I learned to respect these things, because earlier I did not have even a shred of respect for these things, and I was very clear that I wanted to be a sannyasi and have powers. I wanted power, siddhi. I did not want to die and wither away once again, yet again. And so at 32, I went with Baba to the mountains. I stayed there, and I learned a lot of things from him, which all went over my head. And then I came back to the city. By that time I was 34, and from the age of 34 till the age of 44, almost 10 years, all I did was screw up. Like, screw up everything: my health, my finances, my relationships, everything. I really messed it up. I kept failing at everything again and again and again for 10 years. And in that 10 years, I learned how not to do. I ran out of ways to fail, essentially. And then I learned how to actually teach yoga, and how to make it into a step-by-step thing, because it's a really overwhelming situation. And that's when I came up with these 6 principles that can change your life, that can heal you, and can make you calm down emotionally, at the very least. Okay? All right. The first thing you need to understand is that the purpose of life is to grow. Grow how? Grow in status, grow in abilities. So physical abilities, mental abilities, and also a status that you award yourself. Now, it's not the status with respect to other people. It's a status that you award yourself. You need to grow in that. Have you awarded yourself a better status today? It's only possible with honesty. Not possible with this. You only give yourself a better status when you have achieved something of worth in the day, and then you get a better status. There's no other way, right? Is there? You don't know of any other way? There isn't. You can't lie about this. Others can accord you awards, accolades, and status. It means nothing. But when you sincerely from your heart feel that, hey, I have improved, that is something. Okay? So the purpose of life is to achieve that every day, to make tomorrow better than today. And a life lived like that is the immortal life, because you don't wear and tear. You get better every day in every way, right? You're getting better in your body as well. So your body is getting stronger, younger, more athletic, and disease-free. If you don't get diseases, you don't have to die. Okay, so that's the first principle. The second principle is that how to grow. Then the question comes in your mind, how do I grow? Those of you who got attracted to the idea of growing, want to know how to grow, the answer is right here. Overcoming problems makes us grow. So what should you do? Have a big collection of problems, because the problems are the fuel by which you can grow. If you don't collect problems and you run away from problems, you're going to age and die. Right? Then the next thing is that, how do you overcome the problem? That's the question, right? And the answer is, failing to overcome problems makes you discover better ways. So you try it, you fail, you discover a better way to overcome it, and you overcome it. And you keep doing this relentlessly without getting tired, without losing heart. If you're able to do that, continue. See, I told you it's a warrior path. It's not for people to sit and cry. Okay? So this is how you fail and fail and fail and fail and fail. I failed for 10 years to overcome all these problems. Now I have new problems, better problems. Okay? Discovering better ways to solve your problems leads to a higher quality of problems, because I am not done with problems. I still have a big collection of problems, but only I can solve them. And the big problems, the really big problems, okay? And so you get a bigger quality of problem, better quality of problem, and solving it is always a joy. You grow when you solve your problems, right? So you grow, you become stronger, you're stronger, and you're more nourished, and you become unbeatable, unstoppable, indefatigable. Okay, and then discovering better ways leads to higher quality of problems, and overcoming higher qualities of problems makes us grow even higher. And the final Siddhanta is that there is no end to growth. Okay, so now I'm going to tell you how to lose emotional wellness, and then you will be able to figure out how to gain emotional wellness. You just do the opposite of this, okay? So I'm going to ask you, and you can tell me what to do. All right. So the first way to lose your emotional wellness is to ignore your physical well-being. How many of you do this? How many of you here ignore your physical well-being? Yeah, if you do that, then type IP in the chat box. If you ignore your physical well-being, then type IP in the chat box. How many of you worked out today? How many of you watched what you ate? How many of you didn't smoke, didn't drink? How many of you took care not to load your body with stress hormones? How many of you learned to chill out today? Right? So if you ignore your physical well-being, then obviously you lose your emotional well-being. So if you don't prioritize your physical well-being, if your body, taking care of your body, because it's your home, okay? People take better care of their laptops than they take care of their bodies. And the reason is that we somehow don't see that it's important to take care of your body, okay? So she worked out, great. Radha says, I worked out and I ate healthy. Okay, great. So everyone here is an amazing person who took care of their body today. Okay, I don't expect the IP guys to be honest. That's all right. Okay, so good. So your physical well-being is the key to it's the basis and the foundation for emotional well-being. Why? Because there's a nerve called the phrenic nerve, which starts right about your stomach and passes through your hands and your lungs and all that. And that's the one which gives you emotional well-being. If there are good neurotransmitters, neuropeptides flowing in that, you feel good. There's also the vagus nerve. If there's good neuropeptides flowing in that, then you automatically feel good. Okay? So if you want to have a good set of emotions, and you want to look at everything positively, and you want to look at everything in an empowering way instead of disempowering yourself, then what you can do is take good care of your body. Okay, there are various ways to do this, but it boils down to these three things: diet, exercise, controlling stress. If you can do these three things, it's the triangle of well-being. It's also the healing triangle. If you can do these three things, then you are free. You're just free to do whatever you want. Okay, so that's the basis. Now, second one is you want to lose your emotional wellness, ignore your financial well-being. How many of you have done this? I'm not going to ask because you'll all lie that you didn't do it. If you have lost your financial well-being and you're starting to think that you don't have money, you lost your emotional well-being. Okay, so you cannot afford to be an amateur. Do you eat? Does everybody eat here? Does everybody need shelter? Does everybody need a vehicle? Does everybody need what else? Stuff. Yeah, you need a stuff. You need internet. You need a computer. You need clothes, and yeah, your clothes I already mentioned. Yeah, everybody needs these things, don't they? Without it, you can't experience what is called life. So those of you who have negativity in your mind about money, you're never going to feel well because you'll never have money, and you'll always feel the need for money, and then you'll always feel bad about it. Okay, so you cannot be a novice in the methods of making money. You can't say, oh, I finished with my career, now I'm 60, I don't have to learn anything more. You can't be like that. You have to keep upskilling yourself no matter what your age. And you have to have a source of income. Something has to be flowing in without you doing much of work. Then you'll have financial well-being, and then you'll have emotional well-being. Because if you get financial tension, you can't sleep. If you've gotten into loans and people are knocking on your doors every day asking you for money, you cannot sleep. You cannot be well emotionally. You'll have stress, right? So you've got to figure that out right in the beginning, and you've got to prioritize this, and do not be a novice in this. Be an expert in making money, all right? It's easier said than done, but if you prioritize it, there is nothing that you can't do. And nobody can afford to not do this, yes? But people feel that they can afford to ignore these two things. Physical well-being and financial well-being, they think they can ignore it for some reason. I just hope that I'm waking you up to the fact that you cannot ignore these two things. If you got these two things under control, 90% of your problems are solved. If you're independent financially, you don't have to depend on anybody else, you have your own source of income, you already got so much less problems than somebody who's financially dependent on someone else. Okay? And if you can go and move and live in your own place and just chill out and do your own thing and have your own space, so much problem solved. Okay? But if you're living under someone's roof, you have to follow their rules. It's a big problem. Okay? And you need to fix it. And you grow stronger fixing it. And the same thing, if you've got diseases, you've got diabetes, you've got creaky joints, and all your hair is falling out, and you've become fat, and you've got constipation, and soon you'll get some other big disease. If you're in that kind of boat, and then on top of that, if you're drinking and smoking, guess what? You lose your emotional wellness. Okay, so now sometimes, you know why people ignore these first two things? Some people ignore their physical. Yes or no? Do you know that some people ignore their physical well-being and financial well-being? Do you know such people? Not you. Asking for a friend. Do you know that there are people who don't take care of their physical well-being and financial well-being? Type no in the chat box if you know this. If you met them, if you met them, type met in the chat box. Okay? If you know, then type no in the chat box. Okay? I want to see if you're aware of this. Otherwise, all of you here are excellently taking care of your physical well-being and financial well-being. You're just amazing people, everybody here. Okay, Meenakshi's partially met someone. How you do this? Okay, no problem. So lots of people have met these people. Oh, thank you. Okay. Oh, that's a good response. Okay. So these people who are not you, they use problems to get high. Okay. What they do, the reason they ignore their physical well-being and their financial well-being is that instead of solving their problems, they tell themselves that my problem makes me unique. My problem makes me amazing. My problem makes me who I am. I am significant because of my problem. So this attitude, if you have, how to know if you have this attitude? Just check. Have you been wealthy in the past? Have you been poor for more than a year? Check. If the answer is yes, I've been poor for more than a year. Have you been sick for more than a year? If the answer is yes, I've been sick for more than a year. That means you're using your problems to get high. You're not solving it. You haven't done anything about it. Okay? So that's something you need to understand. So don't use your problems to get high. How do you know this? You just have to be honest. Yeah? So Meenakshi says money goes off by the end of the month. And if that's been happening for more than a year, then you're getting high on something, and that's the reason you're not solving the financial problem. Okay? Bitter truth. You don't have to take it. You can stumble upon it, pick yourself up, and walk as well. Okay? This is for those who want to take the truth, who want to become, emotionally well. All right? Cool. Okay. So then there's also the fear of failure, which is something I can't understand. It's bizarre, right? It's like saying I fear. I don't know. I fear pleasure. Because failure is pleasure. Like every time you fail, you become so good. Forgot the name of this founder of Spanx. Like what's her name? The billionaires. Sarah Blakely, okay? So there's this person called Sarah Blakely who spoke about. I was watching one of her master talks. What is it called? Master classes. Yeah, and there's this company called Masterclass which gets world famous people to take classes, and I have a membership in that. So I was watching a talk by Sarah Blakely, and she was describing her childhood and what exactly used to happen in her house. So her father used to call both the kids, she and her sibling, brother, I think, I don't know. Used to call them and then say, "Hey, tell me how you failed today." And if they come up with a story of how they failed, then he would be so happy. He would just like congratulate them, make them feel really nice about it, say, "Wow, you did amazing by failing," and he would celebrate it. He would give them a little treat for it or something like that. Okay, so she understood at a very young age that it's very important to fail, and if she didn't have something that she's failed at, she would suddenly go and join the gymnastics team and go fail at it and come back, and then she would have something to tell her dad, "I tried gymnastics today, I failed at it." We're like, "Great, so now what you going to do about it?" Okay, then she go and learn that, and so that's a different culture. What happened to you? Do you remember what happened to you when you first time you failed at something, and then you came home and you told your parents, "I failed in math"? What happened? Danda, no? Indian parent, how can you fail in math? Who will marry you? It will go straight to who will marry you. From how can you fail in math? Right? So some of you have failed UPSC, some of you have failed in so many other things, and then what happens at home? Nobody's celebrating this. Okay? Nobody's celebrating this. It's a culture. We have a cultural problem in this country, that we have a problem with failure. Okay? If you have a problem with failure, guess what? You're never going to be happy because you'll keep failing in your life. You keep failing to get whatever you want to do until you get it. There's no way. So you have to change this culture inside your brain. You have to change this whole system, this writing inside your brain. You've got to change it, okay? It's easy to say, hard to do, right? How many of you think that it's really easy to change these things? Right? You have a fear of failure and I tell you it's stupid, and then you say, "Oh, it's stupid, I'll stop doing it from tomorrow." How many of you think that it's easy for you to do that? And how many of you think it's not easy? Type any in the chat box if it's not easy. Yeah, not easy, right? So you need a technique. You need a technique to do it. That technique is called yoga. Okay? So this whole set of techniques was revealed to me by Mahavatar Babaji. It takes 7 days to learn them. And I'm teaching it from the 9th to the 15th. And those of you who are interested, you can get in touch with me. Guru Pashupati is the handle on both Instagram and Facebook. And if you want to learn about it, get in touch with me. And soon it will be on my website also. I think tomorrow it will be on my website. Yeah. So yogila.in/karma-visarjana. This is a bunch of practices called karma visarjana, where you learn how to change deeply held convictions and deeply held system logic inside your brain. You need to change it. Right now the system logic is feel bad when fail, feel bad when ill, feel bad when poor, get high on it, don't do anything about it, don't change anything, continue eating paneer pakoras. Okay? So you need to change that. You need to change that entirely. And if something's triggered in you a desire on being emotionally well, which is why you all came here, right? You came here because, like, if you're already emotionally well, then why you need this? Why would you be here, right? So you need some of it. You know that in some places you're failing, so then better learn it properly. Okay? I'm telling you the tech. I don't have enough time to tell you the technique right now. But join the course, and it needs to be done in a monitored way. Okay, I don't want you haphazardly getting into your mind and then messing things around, because we're going to get into the mind meditatively. And then we're going to tiptoe around and we're going to find all the crap and then do a lot of cleaning of the crap and then put in all new stuff in there. So it's going to take 7 days. And there's a reason it takes 7 days and 1 hour every day, because we're doing it meditatively. You've got to spend the time. And it's really not possible in a webinar like this. But at least over here, you can be aware that such things are possible and only yogis can do it. Nobody else can do it. Okay? All right. So the next point is that you can judge everything and then lose your emotional wellness. How do you do this? There are 2 boxes into which you can put things. It is unfair. The moment you put something into the box called unfair as a judgment, you lost your emotional wellness. Have you noticed? Have you noticed? The moment you put something into a box called unfair, you can't be well again. Whether it is your action or somebody else's action. Somebody did something, you feel it's unfair, now you lost your emotional wellness. Gone, finished, over. Emotional wellness, finished. Oh, Meenakshi is saying I've enrolled for Karma Visarjana. That's very good. How come I don't see you there? Okay, I'll follow up with you. All right. So that's. Have you seen this? Yeah. If you've seen your emotional wellness vanish, then type EWV in the chat box. If you agree that anytime you put something in the unfair box, your emotional wellness vanished. Okay. Then put EWV. Nilima, you have my number. You can ping me later. Okay. Come on, come on. We're not talking about how to register for Karma Visarjana now. Get in touch with me later. You can find me. I'm not difficult to find. All right. Yeah. So people have noticed this. Yeah. Oh, I just noticed it sounds like ooh. So Priya says ooh. Divya says ooh. Sharma Meenakshi says ooh. Shashank says ooh. Preeti says ooh. Shweta says ooh. Nirisha says ooh. Another Preeti says ooh. Yeah. Okay. So it's very obvious that if you find something unfair, then you lose your emotional wellness. So to keep your emotional wellness, what should you do? Do the opposite. Always find things fair. Now this comes down to your software programming again, right? Can you change this? Can you change this? If I tell you, hey, you're finding something unfair, it's actually you should find it fair. And you're like, how do I do this? It's not easy, isn't it? Yeah? That's why you need Karma Visarjana. Karma Visarjana helps you to do these things. You understand? Okay. So don't worry. It is hard to do. I'm not even going to ask you. You know it's hard to do, right? You know it's hard to do. It's really hard to do. Okay? Another place you can lose your wellness is if you put it into this is wrong. Somebody does something and you feel it's wrong. Somebody is wrong on the internet. I have to correct them. You lost your emotional wellness. All right? Yeah? Something happens in the world, like Abhinav was saying, and then we judge it as wrong. This is wrong. This is wrong and unfair. So sometimes you put it in wrong and unfair. Most of the time, wrong and unfair are overlapping boxes. Okay, this place, this dirty place in your mind, if you find it and you destroy that place, during 7 days of Karma Visarjana, we launch a bomb on that place. Boom, boom, finished. There's going to be no more place for you to find anything unfair. So there's no way you can be emotionally unwell. Yeah, there's no way you can get high. How to get high on your problems? You say, my problems are there because somebody has been unfair to me. The moment you say somebody has been unfair to me, you're so special. Because, everybody's trying to hurt you. You're so special already. So you start releasing a different kind of high chemical. You forget that you're poor. You forget that you're sick. The only 2 problems people have is, 3 problems people have is, I'm poor, the real problems. Okay, the rest of it are fake problems. The real problem is, I'm poor, I'm sick, and nobody respects me. These are the 3 basic problems that human beings have. Across countries, wherever I've traveled, across India also, wherever I've traveled, I have found people having these 3 problems. That's real problems, and the real problems. Okay, you need to fix it. People need to respect you. People need, you need to have money, and you need to have health. If you solve these three, then you will get higher level of problems. These are the basic problems, okay? These are kindergarten level problems. If you solve these problems, then you'll get better problems in your life. Yeah? Like, how do I save the environment? That's another level of problem. There's more problem than that. How do I become immortal? Bigger problem. And after you become immortal, how do I keep getting problems? That's a bigger problem. How do I entertain myself? That's another problem. If you're immortal, then how to entertain yourself becomes a problem, because you've seen it all. Within 1,000 years, you've seen it all. You have to see new things, right? How to do it, another problem. So those are the level of problems you'll never even touch if you're in the basic level problems of I'm poor, I'm not well, and I don't have respect. If you're in these basic level problems, you'll never grow, okay? Otherwise, you suddenly will grow up and then you'll say, okay, how can I help all these people? You start to fix your environment, okay? All right, so that's what I was trying to tell you. Ashwin Sirhati says, it is unfair that this person is saying wrong things and others are listening to him. I know so many are right things, but no one listens to me. Unfair. Start crying. Okay, yes, pretty much that much, okay? By the way, Ashwin Sirhati is doing some amazing programs. One is on anger and one is on guilt. And I think the really amazing programs, if anybody has anger and guilt and you want to deal with these two yucky things, get in touch with Ashwin Sirhati. Okay, so shout out to Ashwin Sirhati there. And the next way to lose your wellness is to expect the impossible. You just want impossible things to happen, okay? So somebody died, but you feel that it was not untimely, it was not correct, it was at the wrong time. They should have lived. You can be miserable, isn't it? If you understand one thing, they put into our mind that there is probability of this or that happening, and then it has given rise to a bunch of crap called manifestation. Okay, the only manifestation is when you align with nature and then you manifest what nature wants to manifest. But if you want to manifest whatever you want to manifest, it's not possible. Half of the things that you want to manifest are not possible. So people think that it's possible to manifest anything. It's just that its probability is low. We'll collapse the probability wave and somehow it will manifest. And people are under this illusion, and then they become very miserable when what they expect to happen doesn't happen. So because they're expecting the impossible. They're expecting dead people to not have died. They're expecting a lost job to have not been lost. They're expecting a rejection to have not occurred. But these things are possible. They were the possible things. What you're expecting is the impossible. If it didn't happen, it's impossible. That's why it didn't happen. If it happened, it was possible. That's why it happened. If something is possible, it will happen. It's not like there are 3 possibilities and 1 happens. It's not like that. We have a mistaken understanding of the world. If you understand that there's only 1 possibility and only that will happen, you can be so relaxed. And that's the one that's going to happen. So you can just relax, The Muslims have a great saying, Inshallah. I say Insha Shiva. Okay? And leave it at that. So if you can say Insha Shiva and relax, no problem. There's nothing, yeah? Masha Shiva, Insha Shiva, relax. Whatever will be, will be. If you're able to understand this very deeply, yeah? So now, how easy is that to understand? From there were 3 possibilities, and if I had worked harder, I would have got possibility number 5, and it just went out of my grasp because of my actions. Suddenly, you've made yourself too important. And you feel very special. You feel so smooth. You feel so smooth. You're like the hero. There's a soundtrack going on in the background. Da na 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 na. Da na 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 na. That's you. Being larger than life by thinking that there was a 3rd possibility. Alright? There isn't any, yeah? So whatever happened today was what was possible. Whatever didn't happen was impossible. We got to know this. Okay. It's difficult to do that. You need to change the software inside. You need to brain surgery for 7 days with karma visarjana, then it will come out. There's no other way that I know of. If anybody knows, let me know. If anybody knows a simpler way, tell me. Okay? All right. And the next one is that if you have dysfunctional relationships, did you know that all relationships are supposed to have a function? Nobody knows this. They have relationships called father, mother, wife, son, brother, and they don't know what its function is. Nobody knows. They have no idea what it is. Yeah. The only functional relationship people have in general is teacher and student. That's a functional relationship. They understand that they're going to learn something here. They're going to discover more about the world through this person's devices. Whatever they're going to do and whatever they're going to say and whatever they're going to make them do, the exercises, they're going to learn something. Okay? So that's the one way to have, that's the only functional relationship people have. But you know, there are more functional relationships, like for example, co-worker is really not yet functional till you know what the hell they're doing for you. If you understand what they're doing for you, then it's good. But most co-workers have a dysfunctional relationship because nobody knows what they're doing in an office. It is so difficult. Okay? I mean, I can't work with any other team other than my team. And then, you know, for example, my payment gateway, I had subscriptions crossing a lakh, like 1.5 lakh comes through subscriptions every month. And when we upgraded our payment gateway to include e-mandates, then all the card subscriptions have been deleted. So this month I'm undergoing a loss of 1.5 lakhs because of the incompetence of people at work at my payment gateway. Just an example. Today I'm sitting outside here in the heat getting bitten by mosquitoes. I can't sit in my room because the guy who's giving me internet has been absconding from the past 7 days and not been able to come in here and give me internet. But I used some karma visarjana tools on him and I actually ended up speaking to him and making him come now at 7 o'clock. He's going to come. Okay? So I don't have to sit here in this place anymore. I can go back to my beautiful room, which has a nice AC and protects me from mosquitoes. So anywhere I go, there's incompetence. Just incompetence. Incompetence, incompetence. It's unbelievable how incompetent people are. Unbelievable. Right? They just want an excuse to goof off from their work and not do it. And I don't know how they feel this. Because if you don't work, you don't have financial well-being. But people are not bothered. They just want to be high. Okay? And even big companies are run like this. There's 2 people doing all the hard work and there's 20 people relaxing like this. Okay? So you can see incompetence everywhere. Okay? But that's because of dysfunctional relationships. We don't know who's doing what in our life. Okay? If we don't know who's doing what in our life, exactly what are the roles of the people in my life? You just say, mother. What is a mother's role in your life? Nobody's defined it. So she's doing everything that she shouldn't be doing. She's exhausting herself trying to be a good mother. So these labels that you give yourself as relationships, this is my boyfriend, this is my girlfriend. What is that functionality of that relationship? If you don't define the functionality, you have a dysfunctional relationship. And that's exactly why you're going to be miserable. And you're going to lose all your emotional wellness. Okay? Does this make sense to you? If functional relationship makes sense, then type FMS, functional makes sense. And get rid of all the dysfunctional relationships. Yeah? And for that, you know what you need? Number 1, you need honesty. Number 2, you need karma visarjana. You need 2 things for this. It's too much, already 2 things. Okay? You need 2 things for this. You need to rearrange things in your brain. Otherwise, what will happen then? You can't reject dysfunctional relationship. Do you realize that you'll have to reject dysfunctional relationship? You say functional makes sense. And then you'll have to reject dysfunctional relationship and then hold people up to a standard, and then you'll have to face the possibility of being rejected by them. All right? Yeah, so Meenakshi is saying sometimes the other person does not want a defined functional relationship. Then it's a dysfunctional relationship. You'll have to reject them. People who can't reject others are the ones who are scared of rejection themselves. Okay? So I'm going to add one here. A great way to lose your... Thanks, Meenakshi. A great way to lose your emotional wellness. Okay? You know the great way? Fear rejection. Both giving rejection and receiving rejection. If you fear this, you're scared to say no, and you're scared to hear no as well. Those who are scared to say no are the ones who are scared to hear no. They're like, they can't take rejection themselves. You know what? You should be elephant skinned. You should have a skin like an elephant. If somebody rejects you, you say next. If you don't have that, you can forget about emotional wellness. Goodbye. Easy to say, easy to understand, but karma visarjana to do. You can't do it otherwise. All right. So all of these emotional wellness cannot be achieved by webinars. You have to go through. You have to go into your mind, and implement all of these things. Gaurav is saying, karma visarjana helped me to go through this effectively. Yeah, I know. Gaurav has been also struggling with dysfunctional relationships, and finally he's getting the courage to give rejection and take rejection. Give rejection, take rejection. Give, take, give, take, give, take, give, take everywhere in your dysfunctional relationships, and you're fully and finally free. Without karma visarjana, it's not possible. It just cannot be done. Okay? So that's about it. Somebody has unmuted themselves. Can you please mute yourself? Whoever that is. And the final thing is, if you ignore the Amrita Yoga Siddhanta, if you ignore these 6 things, you're definitely going to be miserable. Okay, so that brings me to the end of my presentation. I've listed out all these things. If you want this PDF, then you can always get in touch with me, and I'll send you this PDF as a quick reference. Okay, if anybody wants it, let me know. I'll send you the link by WhatsApp. Just WhatsApp me. Okay. Great. Or you can contact me on Facebook or Instagram and send me a WhatsApp number, and I'll send it to you. Okay, great. So that's about that. And Kumar, what's the next agenda? Anurag?
So thank you for this such an enlightening session. We can open the floor for questions. Audience can ask questions in the chat box.
Great. You can either ask in the chat box or they can unmute and speak, right? No? No.
Yeah.
Oh, you can. Great. All right. So go ahead. You can ask me any questions that you have about this, and be sure that you'll get an answer, because I've been doing this a long time. Okay. Any questions, people? You can type it in the chat box if you don't want to speak, or you can speak if you don't want to type. We're waiting for questions from the audience. And if you have no questions, then it's good night from me. Yes, Shashank is asking, regret is a way of putting too much importance on yourself. Yes, of course, Shashank. Of course. You sit and feel regret and you say, oh, this shouldn't have happened. Basically, regret is expecting the impossible. That's what it is. And then when you expect the impossible, you feel that there is a special conspiracy against me, that things are not working out, especially in my life. Everybody else has it easy, but in my life it's not working out. So I could have done better than this. I could have done better. Somehow I could have done better. And then you suddenly feel that you're the hero of that story. You think you're Rocky or something. Ta-da-da, 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 okay. So the background music starts playing, people start getting into that role, and they start feeling that misery, and they're just like, what is it? Some sad Hindi song comes. I can't remember them now, because I'm never sad, so I can't remember. it's on the tip of my mind. I can't remember. There are some really sad, beautiful Hindi songs. You can sing. Like people have made songs for all this. For this, I could have done better thing, you know. Things went out of my hand and I just tried to be a better person. And people write songs about this shit. And you can listen to it and you can get into that and you can be larger than life. Right, Shashank? Okay. All right. Minakshi is asking, can karma visarjana help in mending dysfunctional relationships? See, if the other person doesn't want to mend, you'll have to reject them. Okay, karma visarjana can teach you how to not fear rejection. You think all relationships can be mended? No. Some relationships can't be mended. Okay, if it can be mended, karma visarjana will help you to mend it. If it can't be mended, karma visarjana will help you to get rid of it. Okay. And Priya is asking, the unfair point has made me think. Thanks for sharing. Okay, welcome, Priya. Nilima is saying, are most relationships dysfunctional or entangled? Do we risk being labeled as disruptive when we start rejecting them? This risk of being labeled as disruptive is called fear of rejection. Okay, so yes, you will be labeled disruptive, you will be labeled everything. But if you start valuing those labels, then obviously you're going to be stuck in that relationship forever. So many relationships are dysfunctional, extremely dysfunctional. Most relationships are dysfunctional. Okay, so so many beliefs about keeping relationships close and uplifted. Yes, yes, of course. You have to overcome all that conditioning and then be okay to reject and be okay to get rejected, and then you're free. Okay. Siddharthi is saying, I've noticed that when I'm sad, I'm actually deeply angry at someone or the universe, and I'm not doing anything about it. I'm not expressing the anger. And is that the case with all sadness? Yes, definitely. Sadness can be that it's always anger directed at someone else, and you know, it's the next stage of anger. You're too scared to show your anger to someone else, and then you sit and feel sad. That's possibly what it is, or your anger against God itself. You took away my mother, I'm going to be sad. Why? Why don't you also die then? If you're going to be sad that the person is not alive. It's like going on hunger strike, you know, we learned it. This is how we threw out the British, right, doing hunger strike and stuff. But nowadays it's not working. Like Anna Hazare tried hunger strike, it didn't work only. Okay. So it used to work at some point for some reason. Now it's not working. This sadness. I think you should try new strategies. Okay, it's got antibiotic resistance. People have become resistant to sadness. Okay, and sadness also sometimes, Ashwin, is a hero trip. You know, you feel like I'm so special because of this sadness. Then Gaurav was saying, KV is magical software that aligns the brain to a state of perfect emotional well-being. Thanks, man. Siddhant is saying, how do I help a person to reduce their tendency of overthinking and feeling bad about every situation? Here's the thing, you cannot help them. They have to help them. You can help yourself. So if that's affecting you, then what you can do is examine why it's affecting you, and it'll be one of those things I listed. For example, it will be expecting the impossible. You'll be doing expecting the impossible over there. Okay? So you have to get over that and then say, if it's possible for them to feel sad all the time, because that's the only possibility, leave it at that. Don't try to do anything about it. It's not your job to save them. They are enjoying the trip. If they're really feeling pain, then they'll take action. Do you understand this, guys? People who are really feeling the three pains, like the basic three pains, they'll take action and they'll go to the next one. Like, I don't have money, I don't have health, and nobody respects me. If they're feeling, then they'll go to the next level. They won't sit around there and say, oh, my health, oh, my finances, oh, my... They don't have time to feel sorry for themselves because they got a real problem. They got to solve it. They don't have time to feel sorry for themselves. Okay? So overthinking and feeling bad about every situation is their drugs. Some people have cakes as drugs. Some people have drugs as drugs, like cigarettes and alcohol. And some people have medical drugs as drugs, like painkillers and antibiotics and stuff like that, makes them high. And then some people have feeling bad about every situation as a way to get high and forget about the three basic problems. I don't have health, nobody respects me, and I don't have money. So that's the problem. Okay, Siddhant, I hope it makes sense. Rather saying the unfair point you made, if we were not to say that situations people are being unfair, should we assume the situation is fair, and in which case wouldn't it affect our self-esteem? Why? It's always fair. Everything that's happening is fair. Why should it affect your self-esteem? So let's define self-esteem, okay? What is self-esteem? Self-esteem is a evaluation of your own abilities. That's it. When you evaluate your own abilities, why should you feel bad? Yeah, like, okay, I can lift 10 kgs. I've evaluated my abilities. Why should I feel good or bad about it? We feel good or bad about it when we say we're better than someone else, worse than someone else, ta 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 ta. So again, you're saying and you're comparing and you're saying that somebody had it better than me. Somebody has it better than me, so it's unfair. You come back to the unfair box. You cannot have low self-esteem without comparing yourself with others and then finding the unfair box somewhere. The unfair or the wrong box. This is wrong. Without that box, you can't have low self-esteem. So realize the elegance of this. If you throw out the unfair box, you've thrown out low self-esteem forever, because all you're doing is accurately evaluating yourself. You can do this or you can't do this. And there's nothing unfair or wrong about it. What is self-esteem? Feeling that your abilities are wrong, or feeling that there's something unfair about your abilities. Feeling that, being no good is wrong. Being no good is not the problem. The self-esteem drops when it is wrong. Okay? Hope you got that. All right. Pradesh is saying, how do we know for sure that it's a dysfunctional relationship when our heart doesn't allow us to lose our this heart and all is like, this moment you start bringing in your heart into a relationship, you've thrown functionality out. Okay? A good relationship is functional, not because of heart in it. Okay? So there itself you lost it, right? So your heart doesn't allow, that means you've gone into the land, dysfunctional land. You're sitting in dysfunctional land and you're saying, how can I know that this is dysfunctional? Because you're finding that dysfunctionality convenient. Because you don't have to face rejection. You don't have to give rejection, you don't have to face rejection, and okay, let me just continue in a dysfunctional relationship. But even a dysfunctional relationship is miserable. Okay, there will be no happiness in it. People will be always fighting. They have time to fight. In a functional relationship, you only have things to do. You don't have time to fight. You don't have time to disagree with each other. Because you got things to do and you agree upon it. That's why it's functional. In a functional relationship, there is agreement. And it's very easy to come to agreement. Because you have a common goal. You're like, yeah, okay, yeah. If you're wrong, you're wrong. Yeah, correct. This is not serving the goal. There's only useful and useless. Okay? And it's very easy to evaluate useful and useless with regard to a goal. Okay? So I want to drink water. This is my goal. I'm picking up this. Is it useful? I'm picking this up. It has water in it. Is it useful? Yes, it's useful. Okay? I am thirsty. Yeah, that's my goal. I want to drink water. That's my goal. Let me listen to some music. That is useless at this point. Listening to music when you're thirsty is kind of useless. Okay? So it's very easy to judge when you have a goal whether something is useful or not. We don't have goals. That's why it's dysfunctional. A relationship without goals is a dysfunctional relationship. There is no goal. There is nothing to meet. There is no problem to solve. Okay? So then your heart doesn't allow you to lose the person. You have time for all this crap. It will affect my kids' future. Why? Teach your kids about functional relationships and say, this one was not functional, so I'm calling it off. Okay, kids? And we both can have a functional relationship. What would you like to have as goals? And kids will come up with goals. All right? Stop it. It's so disgusting to say that you're staying together in a marriage because of your kids. Making the kids the reason for you to continue in a miserable marriage. The kid will hate you. When the kid grows up and says, you stayed together and you suffered, you made me the reason for it, I hate you. That's going to happen. All right? Please be careful. And Shashank is saying, what happens when you blame yourself rather than others? Is that also a way of putting too much importance? Of course, Shashank. That is exactly what happens when you expect the impossible from yourself. And you are like, You feel so special. No? Yeah, definitely. When you blame yourself also, you're so special. You're so special. Oh my God, you can blame yourself. That means I could have done better. There was a possibility for me to do better. No, there wasn't. That's why you did bad. Now that you're feeling the pain, you'll do better. So everything except feeling pain. The moment you blame yourself, can you feel pain, guys? Nothing you feel. You feel high. You feel smooth. But you are this person that you saw in the latest movie, crying. You're that. You're already glamorous. You made yourself glamorous. Okay? We have glorified misery so much in our stories and movies and songs that there's a song for every misery. Yes or no? There's a song for every misery. And then you go and sit in that miserable condition, blaming yourself. I hope it's clear, Shashank. Nilima is asking, can you please talk a bit about depression and anger? Depression is again expecting the impossible. It didn't happen, and now you're either blaming yourself or you're blaming others. In all depression, there is blame, right? And anger is the same thing. Anger is a more active form of depression. So depression and anger go together. Depends on the day. If there's more energy, you'll be angry. If there's less energy, you'll be depressed. Chemically also inside the body, same things are happening. When you have hypoadrenal function, then you'll be depressed. When you have hyperadrenal function, you'll be angry. But it's the same thing, right? Yeah. So our mainstream, rather saying it makes sense, Priya saying absolutely, Aparna saying our mainstream media and social media have a lot to do with reinforcing. If don't find another scapegoat to blame, okay? You have everything to do with the false relationship beliefs because you are the one implementing it. When you take responsibility for yourself, there's nobody to blame. There's only stuff to fix, okay? So stop blaming the media, okay? Nirisha, media makes what you want. No, people want that shit. That's why media is making it. They found out that it sells. Media will make anything that sells. Tomorrow they find out that being self-reliant and being awesome sells. Then they'll start making stories about awesome. You guys are not buying it. Okay, so the consumers are to blame, not the media. Media gives what the consumers want. Nirisha is like, when we fail at something and yet our passion lies in that work, should we accept that it's fair and leave it there? Or pick ourselves and try until we reach our goal? No, you just learn. Oh, shit, I said the word learn, you know. My copywriting teacher said, never use the word learn in your copy, people won't come for your program. Learn how to do this, learn how to do that. He said, use the word discover. Okay, so Nirisha, you're going to discover new ways to make it happen. You're going to discover new ways, all right? So when you fail at something and your passion lies in that work, then you discover new ways to make it happen. Don't be afraid of failure, right? Can you talk about TTM, please? I missed it. Okay, TTM is a condition in which you feel like pulling your hair out, okay? And so people literally pull their hair out and feel better. Oh, now I feel better that I pulled my hair out. Just like any other addiction, it's also an addiction which leaves you bald. So, so you shouldn't do it. Okay? And is it easy to just say you shouldn't do it and you can do it from tomorrow? No, it's not that easy. You know that it's dysfunctional behavior. It's not helping you in any way. So you've got to really go into your mind and you've got to clear up all of the cobwebs there with deeper meditation. You need to really go deep into yourself. Okay, you need to understand that this is not productive behavior. This is not useful behavior. But somewhere your brain has tagged it as useful behavior because it's making you feel better. Understand that everything that makes you feel better, there's a teaching that feeling better is all that matters. No, it's a wrong teaching. You've got to change that teaching. You've got to change that logic. Feeling better is not the goal of life. It's okay to feel like shit because it's only when you feel like shit that you take action. But people are just so afraid of feeling like shit. They hate it. They want to run away from it. All right? Okay, Nikki, I hope I answered your question. So the techniques to do it, etc., I'm going to be teaching in my program. But anybody can figure it out. If they sit with their mind, they sit and understand how deeply what's going on inside. You start observing it and you start saying the truth, you'll come up with insights. Start to get seriously interested on your mindset and your thoughts every time you feel like pulling your hair out. Say, if I don't pull my hair out, what will happen? and ask yourself. Okay, start becoming curious and you'll get it. All right, don't worry, you'll get it. Okay, Narisha says, okay, got it, but look for new ways to make things work. That's right. And if you sit and start regretting your failures, then that's it. You're so stuck, and then you get into the story. This nice story, okay? Okay, somebody's unmuted. Can you mute yourself if you're not talking? All right, all right, all right, all right. Are we at the end of today's question? Okay, Arjun is saying, how can one get to know their Adesha? Adesha is a...
You're muted.
I don't know how this happened. How did I get muted? Thanks for letting me know. Okay, so I don't know what... okay, Narisha says, got it. Arjun is saying, how can one get to know their Adesha? Adesha is a word for what nature wants you to do, okay? So, what nature wants you to do and what you actually came on this earth to do, okay? So that's a concept in yoga. And how can you get to know it? When you get to know it, because Adesha, the literal explanation for Adesha that I got from my teachers is that when you completely still your mind and you don't have any emotional ripples in your energy, then it's like the full moon reflecting on a lake. You can see it clearly. But if you ripple up your mind will not reflect Adesha and you won't know. So you've got to be absolutely free of emotional disturbances, and then you're free. Okay? Okay, so I answered that too. Are we at the end of today's program? Have you run out of questions? If anybody has questions, leave it in the chat box or unmute and speak. And if you have no questions, type NQ in the chat box so we can end today's program. I hope you all got value. If you did, then also type GV in the chat box if you got value. Okay? Type GV if you got value. If you want to know more about the upcoming Karma Visarjana, then please get in touch with me. All right? And I'm going to leave my WhatsApp number in the chat box, okay? 7876222766. Just for convenience, if anybody wants, copy down the number if you don't have it. All right? It's easy to find. Don't worry, you'll find it everywhere on the internet. Okay. Thank you very much, everybody. It's been great spending an hour with you.